Yo, what it is, what it be, what it do, YouTube, Sam the Man here to save the day. Hey, yeah. And look, if you're new, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff for me. Yeah. But yeah, bro, I'm back. First talking video upload, I guess, of 2026. You feel me? The last video I did was reaction from the stream, bro, and life's been getting kind of busy, bro. I've been outside doing more things. I've been really trying to step up everything I was doing last year, to this year, and it's been taking up a lot more time, man. I was consistently doing boxing, and now I'm trying to do 3 times a week, at least 2 times a week. So I did 3 training sessions last week. I'm still working on a clothing brand, coming up with ideas, designs, logos, working the back end for that type stuff. I've only recorded 1 time this whole year so far. So I haven't been really recording music like that. I dropped 1 song, if you want to check it out, on SoundCloud Change. That's what I dropped on New Year's, but I haven't really been recording any music either. You feel me? And then the streams is like, bro, I've been so busy with work and everything else. Is like, I've only streamed the first of the year and that second day, and I told myself I was gonna stream every day in January, and that kind of fell through because what I realized is, me trying to step up everything that I'm doing, if I already don't have the time to do what I was doing last year and I try and step it up, obviously it's going to be less time to do exactly what I want now. So, it just came to me, just to give a little update on, what's going on with my 26. And it's not like I'm not hitting my goals because, as far as losing weight, staying healthy, and at least touching these things, I'm doing that. Right, but not on the level and consistency that I wanted, bro. And I was getting so mad, this past week, and I'm gonna be honest too, I was just feeling down and hating on myself, really, because it's like, bro, you say you're gonna do these things, and you're not doing it, and people are asking you, yo, where's the stream, yo, where's this, yo, where's that? And I hate falling short with that stuff because it's stuff that I should be doing, right? But it's really just time and life, that has really taken effect, bro. And so especially last week, first week of the year, mind you, you feel me? I'm already sitting here like, damn, I'm failing, this, that, and the third. I can see the little bit of growth of where I'm going, but I feel like if I put my best foot forward and I do these things consistently and, have the time to myself and to do the things that I really wanted to do, then, I'll really be more pleased with myself and what's going on in the situations in my life right now, whether it be financially, stuff like that, whatever the case may be. And so really this just past week, I've been really low as well as far as not doing a lot of these things. And so, that kind of, affects me as well, because if I'm not feeling in, the best mood, I don't want to turn on the stream. If I'm not feeling in the best mood, I don't want to sit down and record something. If I'm not feeling in the best mood, I want to look for beats and try and record a song and stuff like that. So I just really had to look myself in the mirror, bro, because it's like, bro, it's only been 1 week. Why am I so stressed? Why am I so butthurt about everything that's going on right now? And it's only 1 week into the year. Like, so, the main video, or the main thing for this video that I wanted to, just talk about something is just the patience and success, right? Because it's one thing to say you have the faith in something, where it's like, especially starting this content stuff, this YouTube stuff, this streaming stuff, this music, all this stuff that I do, this creative stuff, holy brand, all that. You feel me? Is like, I have the faith in myself and I see the vision now. It took me a long time, sitting with this. I've always wanted to do these things, and now that I'm doing it, that bridge is crossed. That's a major hurdle for me, right? But now that I know that I can do these things, and now that I see the vision, now that I see the growth and I see the potential, now when it's not that, right, that's when I get tight, right? So it's like, it's not like I don't see myself being successful in this. I 100% do. And I don't think you should get into something if you don't see yourself, being the best at it and being successful at it, right? But right now, the stage where I am right now, I'm not exactly where I want to be. And I'm sure it applies to everything in life. I'm sure a lot of people, especially our age, I'm 23, turning 24 in a couple months, whatever the case may be, in this stage of our life, especially as men, bro, you might not be exactly where you want to be. And people make it seem like, you see like 18-year-olds across the country with 10 hypercars and crazy stuff on the internet and stuff like that, and you think, damn, I'm behind. And that's especially me, bro. Especially because when I really think about it, like in the timeline wise, right, I really started all this a year ago, right? So for a year's work of like progress is very good, in my opinion. A lot of people might think otherwise, whatever the case may be. The thing about internet and numbers is all subjective, bro. It's like, 100K for one person is not the same as 100K for another person. It's a different, growth stream. It's a different, type of stuff that goes into that type of stuff, right? So where I'm at right now, especially, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything, I've improved, light years beyond where I was last year. Right, already the fact that I'm sitting here trying to up everything I did last year is already a foundation of proof of what I've done. right? So and sometimes like that, where it's like I gotta take a step back and chill out on myself, because I really don't care what anybody else really says. Like, is no harsher critic in this shit besides me, right? And that's how it's always been for me personally. Is like, that's why I never really started a lot of these things. I mean, it is a lot of external opinions, where it'd be like family, friends, whatever the case may be, that might have dissuaded me from doing this stuff earlier. But it's also really just me, right? Because growing up, I don't want to sound like cocky or arrogant, bro, but I always felt like I just knew things intuitively, and I understood things better than a lot of people say they understand things, because you listen to a lot of people talk, and then you observe the way they move and they interact, and it's not consistent, right? So I don't know, I've always been very observant from young. I've always seen these things, so it's not like I'm sitting here saying like I know everything. And I used to think I knew everything, especially like 17, graduating high school and going to college. I thought I knew everything, and I didn't know nothing. But when it came to certain things, especially when it comes for visions and plans and ideas that you have for yourself in your life, no one is really going to understand that but you, right? So growing up, I just felt these things. I always thought about these things. I always see visions of these things. But my parents say, oh, do this. Your friends say, oh, do this. Oh, nah, you don't want to do that. Do this. Blah, blah, blah. It's better for you to do this. Focus on this, whatever the case may be. Right? And then on top of that, me in my head is like, damn, well, the other people are doing it. You haven't started. You're starting late. You haven't done this. You don't do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, ragging on myself as well, on top of, the external pressures and stuff like that. That kind of, held me back, right? So I say all that to say this is like, now where that's no longer a factor. It's not really about what people say. It's really just me. And, that's the one thing that I also want to portray in this message as well, bro, is like, this past year and, starting this new year and everything I got going on, bro, I it's going to sound crazy, but I really just live in my own world, bro. And I think it's best, especially if you got a goal or, are striving for success or something you want to do, live in your own world and be very protective about your energy and the bubble and the people you keep around, bro. That's the one thing I gotta say, because moving to a new state and a new city forced me to distance myself from a lot of people. And it's just so crazy how once I was by myself, all this stuff started happening. You feel me? All the stuff that I ever wanted to, and I stopped listening to what people said, because listening to what people said got me in a position where I hated my life. I looked around, there was nothing positive or anything that I was really happy about that was going on in my life. I was just going through the motions, doing, going to school and doing the thing that everybody else says you're supposed to do. And, the whole time I just felt like, bro, this is not me. The whole time, I love school, I love learning, I love education, I love all these things. I was going to school for legal studies. Not that I don't love legal studies, and I couldn't see myself as a lawyer and, all these types of things, and, business law and these types of things. These are my interests, right? But realistically and truly, I never, ever, 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 ever saw myself working for somebody else. I saw myself being part of a business, growing a business, doing something, but I never thought that I would be the business, right? And that, all the creative things that my parents told me, not to worry about and just to focus on books and stuff like that would also be the fuel to help me get there as well, with the clothing brand, with the streaming, with the, content creation, with the music and all this stuff. These are all things that I've been passionate about, since birth. I'll even tell a story where it's like, my grandma, rest in peace, she's a, her passing away is, a big motivation to me starting all this, bro, because, that's when, a lot of stuff really hit me that, this life is temporary, bro, so you might as well do the things that you want to do, because when you see your loved ones, in that casket, it's hard to say goodbye to them, but that your day is coming as well. That's kind of, what it realized to me. But, my grandma would always tell me a story about how, my first birthday, I heard the music and I started dancing. That's when I took my first steps. I took a couple steps, started bobbing, and I fell down, and she would always remind me of that. I look back to times where, I would sit in the living room and just play with my, parents' Panasonic speaker and play with the levels and, see it go up and down and all this type of stuff. All the drives from New York to the Poconos back and forth, stuff like that. Just music in my headphones, to the point where my parents always complain, like, damn, you always listen to that music. What do you listen to? And I would switch, to Christian music, whatever the case may be. But whole time I was listening to Chief Keef, rap, all that type of stuff. And, for me, it's just always kept me company, especially in times where, I'd be in my room, stressed out about certain things or, depressed about certain things, bro. I'll turn on the radio, I'll turn on some music, and I always felt like, it would comfort me and stuff like that. That's for the music aspect. For as far as like the clothing and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know, I've always, been interested in presenting myself. I feel like clothing is a way you can express yourself without saying much. And for me, I'm not a person that really says much. I'm a person that I'll talk to you if you talk to me, but I'm not going out of my way to talk to anybody, because realistically, I feel like, especially now, is like it's a lot of people you don't want to interact with if you're not forced to interact with them. So and for me, it's not even really about, oh, I don't like people, I don't like talking to people. It's just that I'd rather sit back and observe everything that's going on than to throw myself out there and interact. Like, I'm more of a laid back, chill type person, I guess, is just really all it is, because I like to be social sometimes as well. But I feel like clothing is a way you can express yourself without really saying anything. You walk into the room, depending on what you got on, what you're wearing it with, whatever the case may be, it's a statement being made, and people, can see that, and they say, oh, I get a lot of compliments. Oh, yo, I like this jacket. Oh, I like, you this. I like your shirt. I like your shoes. I like this, whatever the case may be. So, I've always had this idea, to have my own and to create my own, and, have something that's a personal stamp and a personal brand for me, and, something that represents me. And so that's what, the silent enigma in the back on this side, you feel me? And all that stuff, comes from and stuff like that. So that's as far as the clothing. As far as the YouTube and content, like, I grew up watching, people like DDG, people like Pootie, people like Pretty Boy Fredo, just big YouTubers back in the day. You feel me? Cash Nasty, that's like another big influence of mine. You know what I'm saying? Especially a lot of YouTubers that I watch now, like Mr. Organic, King 68 the Great, Don Banks, and stuff like that. And you just see, this lifestyle, right, that I feel like everyone aspires to. And it's not even really that you want to live the exact same life, bro. You just want to have the freedom, right? The freedom to go where you want, do what you want, not have to report to anybody, not have to clock in, not have to worry about, financial struggles, not have to worry about these things, that I feel like, keep people, in a rat race until they die, and not live a true life, you feel me? And you only get one life. So I feel like, it's required to do the things that is take and, necessary to follow your passion and stuff like that. So as far as this content creating stuff, bro, I have big dreams and big visions for this, bro. And so, all that to be said, especially with the music and, like I said, with the clothing and the YouTube and the content, whatever it is, all of it encompasses, everything I want to do, and all of it is 100% authentically me. These are all things that I've wanted to do, right? So when I have all these ideas and all these visions in my head, and I know, if I had the opportunity to do this, I would do this. If I had the equipment to do this, I would do this. If I had the time to go here, I would do this, and go here and do this. And, all these ideas that I have to sit with and really be like, damn, like, I have none of that now. You feel me? And, working towards it is part of the goal. Doing this video right now, recording this right now, is only going to help me get to, all those things that I want to do and that I'm talking about right now, right? But for me, like I said, I'm very harsh critic on myself, where it's like I can be doing 150% and feel like I'm doing 0 because I don't have the end result. You feel me? And so, that's another thing where I felt myself slipping away too, because, I've been, out of church, working, a lot, trying to do a lot, go to the gym, and, not a lot of time for church, you feel me? And I'm not saying you gotta be in church to believe in God. I don't think that. I don't believe that. But, this past Sunday I went to church, and, the message was just, very like, don't make money your God, focus on God. Don't worry about finances. Don't worry about these things. If you say you trust God, then, you would let it be that. And, in the Bible, it tells you not to worry about these things. You feel me? And so, I felt that really resonated with me because, like I said, especially this past week, once again, it's only been 1 week, right? We got so much, left of this year, right? But at the same time, I feel like time, is precious. You feel me? At the same time, we're second week of January. We're almost halfway through the first month of the new year. You feel me? And then, the next 11 is going to go by just like that. Feel me? That's how I feel. But, especially this past week, I was just really weighing heavy on myself, especially with the money. Like, damn, I need money, and money would fix all my problems. Like, if I had the money right now, it would instantly fix everything. You feel me? And not that I'm not taking steps towards making money, because, like I said, I have this business and everything like that. But, these things are not done overnight. You feel me? So I really felt myself resonating with that message. And, I always think back to a lot of successful athletes and a lot of successful people, that I always watch. And they always say, whenever you're doing that thing, make sure you keep God in the center of it, bro. So, going back to church, it really just, helped, reset that energy and refocus my mindset. And, to really, sit back and say, okay, I have to be patient. I have to be patient, right? And really sit back and, just let the process be the process. Enjoy the journey for what it is, and not wake up every day stressed that, I'm not going to make it and that time's running out. You feel me? Because I guess that's the main thing, when you're focusing on, doing the things you want to do, and you finally take that step, to pursue your dreams and your goals and not really care what anybody has to say, right? It's gonna have some growing pains, right? It's gonna feel awkward at times. It's gonna feel like you're not doing much, you're not doing a lot, right? But those parts are what's needed for you to appreciate when you finally get there. You feel me? And part of me knows that, but it doesn't help that I'm still not where I want to be. You feel me? But that's just the main thing. So, I really feel like, an energetic shift within myself. I feel myself, growing, personally within myself, bro, just really focusing on me, right? Because I feel like, once again, I'm gonna just keep saying the main thing that I feel like I've learned, right, is because when I was, struggling in school and, really low and depressed and, going through a lot, my grandma passing away, whatever the case may be, a lot was happening at the same time, getting fired, whatever the case may be, right? I felt like everything was happening to me, right? But now, when I reset, I distance myself, I start focusing on what I want to do, then you realize, okay, things are happening through you. Depends on, what you're doing, your habits, your mindset, your attitude. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Who are the people you keeping around? All these things matter, you know what I'm trying to say? And that'll affect your reality. You feel me? That's where it all starts from. It's nothing that you're searching for in this world or trying to obtain or get that you can't find within yourself, right? So that's one. But then the other thing too that I mentioned, the thing about church, bro, is because, like I said, I feel like I was just grinding so hard and, not getting anywhere. You feel me? And once again, it's not that I'm not getting anywhere. It's just that I'm not where I want to be, right? So I feel like that, right? So I was really down, really depressed. Like I said, I haven't really been consistent doing all the things that I was consistently doing. Like I said, I thought I was going to start the new year, ball rolling and just, steamroll everything. And that's not the case, right? So we're going to have to get that back, you feel me? Especially with the streams. Shout out to my mom, Dustin, bro. I appreciate you. You always hit me up on the TikTok, ask me when the streams are. And, and I want to do it for you, bro. It's not like I don't want to do it. Trust me. It's just I got a lot going on, you feel me? But regardless to say, right, the one thing I wanted to mention, right, so I went to church, right, and like I said, I've been feeling like a little bit disconnected and feeling like, worried about money because, once again, as you're growing older, and one thing you gotta realize, especially as being a man, bro, is like, people are just going to sit there with their hand out asking you for money and not give you shit in return. That's what this shit is, bro. And I mean, it might sound obvious when you say it, right? But once you really live it and really realize it, that's all this shit is, bro. Like, people, will talk to you, yo, bro, how you doing? Whatever the case may be, blah, 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 blah. But they want something from you, and they're not really going to give much back. Whether that be your friends, your family, your parents, people you meet, strangers, bill collectors, whatever the case may be, bro. All they care about is that money, bro. No one really give a fuck about you, bro. I'm going to just say that. That's a sidebar, but that's what you start to realize, bro. And not that that's really a bad thing. That's just the reality of life, bro. So that you just got to go get it, bro. So all that was just weighing on me this past week. I'm like, damn, like, this shit's not worth it, bro. Whatever the case may be, you get it, bro. We've all been there, right? And so today yesterday, it's Sunday, when I was in service, you feel me, I get a tap on my shoulder, bro. And like I said, I haven't been to church in a minute, right? And I've been struggling trying to do all this stuff, work hard on this content and everything like that. Once again, I feel like I'm repeating the same things over and over again, but like, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So I get a tap on my shoulder, and this guy is a bald white dude, big, stocky, like, been in the gym, whatever the case may be. I just feel like describing him because I feel like it fits for the video, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type looking dude, right? So he taps me on the shoulder and he hands me this note, right? And so I read the note, and it says, "Not sure if your name is Will or there is a will in your life. Either way, I feel that the Holy Spirit is telling me to tell you that God loves you and to put whatever may be going on in your life in his hands." And so that's the card he sent to me. And so, I shook his hand. I told him my name is Sam, whatever the case may be. And, after service, I talked to him for a little bit. And he said, he said, "I've been going here for a minute." He said, "Have you been going here?" I said, I haven't been going recently because this is my mom's church. And, I've been busy with work. I'm normally scheduled on Sundays and stuff like that. So I said, "I haven't been here in a minute, but I do go here, occasionally." And he's like, "This is the first time I've ever felt like, convicted to even write something like that or do something like that." And he was like, "Bro, I wrote this note and I literally was just sitting here, contemplating even to give it to you." And so he gave me that note. And for me, right, especially when I was in service, I was like sitting here and just like, damn, like, put my trust in God, Like, it's hard, man. It's 100% hard because I want it now. That's the type of person we now. We live in an instant gratification, like, society, whatever the case may be, where people say, you want it now, DoorDash, TikTok, whatever the case may be, content, everything is instant demand, right? But when it comes for things that's worth it, when it comes for the journey of this life thing, bro, it's like you're not going to get things instantly, bro. And once again, I feel like these are all things that we know that we still struggle with, bro. So it's like, especially me putting in the work for this past year, again, when you're building something of this magnitude, a year is not really nothing. You feel me? And a year in the grand scheme of life is not nothing. But it felt like 10 years to me because I was literally grinding and on my purpose every single day, whether it be YouTube videos, whether it be streaming, whether it be music, clothing brand, in the gym, boxing. Like, I had so much occupying my time that I felt like I accelerated 5 years, even though it's 1 year. And so once again, now we're going into year 2. And once again, I'm not saying that I'm not expecting any type of growth or success right now, because I definitely am. That's what I'm striving towards every day. But, just really just sit back, put it all in God's hand, do what I can do, stress about the things that I can stress about, and let everything else, fall where it may. You feel me? And so once again, I feel like I got to remind myself of that sometimes. And so I also wanted to, make the video as well for you guys, because yesterday I was supposed to upload, we missed the Sunday, you feel me? Because we're supposed to upload every Sunday, but I'll make sure I upload at least once a week, make sure I at least stream once a week, you feel me? Music, I gotta at least record, something once a week. That's gonna be my goal. So my goal is to at least hit those benchmarks and, let everything, fly where it may, because the main thing, bro, is like, I need my time back, bro. And I don't know about you, whatever job you guys got going on, whatever, thing you're trying to accomplish, whatever the case may be. For me, my job is literally just in the way, right? It pays bills. I need it right now. Obviously, it's my main source of income, right? But the moment I can generate something else, bro, and have that time back to do the things that I really want to do, that's when I feel like I'll really be free to start, like, building everything to what I want it to be, right? But until that point, I guess, trust God. Well, not really, I guess. It's no other really option, right? But, just put it in God's hands, bro, and focus on you, bro. Focus on within. Focus on growing yourself, improving every single day, bro. That's another thing. And I guess that's just the main point of the video. So that's how my 2026 is shaping up so far. All the goals and all the drive is, still there. The hunger is very much still there, right? That I want it right now. But also the main, point and the main lesson here is the patience and to trust in God's timing, bro. And so, I may be tight that I don't have it right now, right? But I know that the day that it does happen, I'm gonna be appreciative and think back to, videos like this and moments like this where I was really just down that I didn't have it. And now when you have it, you look back and be like, yeah, look at this. Like, you feel better about it. And so, you just gotta keep the end goal in mind. Think about where you want to be at, visualize it, be it, and live it every day, and do it now, and take the steps to get there now. You feel me? And so that's like the main thing of what I got going on. Oh, and seek help, bro. I guess that's, another thing that I'll say too, right? Is especially, I'm not even just talking about depression wise, because I feel like for me, I know how to handle that. I mean, it might not be the best advice for everybody, but like I said, I was down this week. I know how to mentally assess myself. I know that even when I'm depressed, there's no real reason why I should be depressed, right? It's like, these are all things, that just come with being human and feeling emotions and stuff like that. So even when I'm going through stuff, I understand it's temporary. You feel me? That's one thing. But I guess, like, as far as, like, starting a new venture or starting something or interested in getting into something like crypto or day trading or whatever the case may be, or, trading, coins or whatever the case may be, if there's anything that you want to get into, I say seek a mentor, bro. Especially, one of my good friends, AJ, shout out to me. We were on the phone, in the gym a couple of days ago, and he's trying to do fitness content, you know what I'm saying? Fitness of Greatness on Instagram if you want to check that out. But, he's trying to do his fitness content, and he's telling me, yo, what should I do? Should I get a mentor? Should I get a mentor? And that's what I mean by seek help. Like, especially for this content stuff, I definitely had a mentor as far as like the YouTube, the Instagram side of things, and especially for the clothing brand thing. And so, like I said, I feel like that eases a lot of the things when you have someone who's done it before teach you how to do it, and you can find your way through that. And I feel like that's very valuable as well. So, I feel like have the patience, find a mentor, stay down, lock in. Now's the time to do it. And, put it in God's hand and let him handle the rest, you feel me? So I guess that's just, the main takeaway for this video. And so I guess I'm going to end it there, you feel me? So if you like the video, if you like the content, if you want to see more stuff, like I said, bro, the streams is coming back, bro. So we got to be on the game. We got to be reacting to clips, streaming, do all that type of stuff. Y'all might get those videos on here. Well, I keep saying might. Y'all are going to get those videos on here. You feel me? As far as stream reactions, all that good stuff, talking videos, every now and then. You feel me? When I feel inspired or, real message, that I want to convey, to the channel, whatever the case may be, that's going to happen as well. And like I said, bro, the more we improve, bro, I want to go IRL, but you need a cameraman for that. So I want to go outside and do things. I want to, bring more to the channel than what it is right now. So hey, you better like, comment, subscribe, especially subscribe, turn on post notifications, bro. We gonna be here and you gonna see the growth over time, because especially by the end of this year, it's about to look completely different. It's about to be crazier. I'm speaking that into existence, way crazier. You feel me? Got a lot of plans, a lot of trips, a lot of all that. So that's what's going on this year. You feel me? And before I get out of here, bro, another reason why I didn't upload my video yesterday is because the Niners were playing the Eagles yesterday, and we finally got Philly back. It's a lot of Philly people, because I used to go to Temple and school out there, whatever case be. A lot of people chatting to me, especially my boy Trevor. Yo, shout out to you, bro. You the real MVP right now. A lot of people talking that smack about the Niners this year, whatever the case may be. And I told him the Eagles wasn't going to the Super Bowl, and it's perfect that we was the ones to bounce them out and send them home. You feel me? So it would only be wrong for me to get on this video and not mention that. You feel me? So hey, bang bang Niner gang. Niners going to the bowl. You already know what it is. And die Eagles die. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all be easy, bro. Y'all have a good one. Deuces.